when you have a sourcing person, a person that finds candidates, how long do they have ownership of that particular candidate?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So typically, how it works here in Asana, they tag the job order to that prospect, and then as long as that job order is open, they have ownership of that particular candidate. If for whatever reason like, let's say another job order comes in and they fail to connect those dots that candidate meets that criteria and they're just slow to get there, well, that's part of the game. If the client doesn't care if you're slow to get there, they want to fill that position. So if another sourcer finds that same candidate and then tags into that new job order, well, then that particular job order is with that other sourcer than the original sourcer that found that person.
Now, do you have one database that you use for everybody, or is they separate databases?
It's very transparent. Everyone can see every stage, who does what time they did, everything's timestamped. You can see tracks commission, the whole 9 yards. Everything is there to see who has ownership. And if a deal goes through, what stage are they at in the screening? Are they submitted? Are they interview? Or waiting for interview feedback, interview prep, interview debrief, offer, hire, commission.
So did they get paid? Let me just ask, do they get paid for the people they pull out of your applicant tracking system the same way if they discover a new candidate?
Yeah. The sourcing is already, so the sourcer will go in and look at the applicant to extract the data. And then from there, that leads them to, again, the applicants are, usually it's the recruiter's job to look at the applicant, and they're just calling the applicant to do a screening right then and there. So it skips the sourcing stage. However, the sourcers are looking at the data from that resume to then see if they can rate other people that are at that same company or the previous company.
Well, you know what? The thing it strikes me is these sourcers are doing such an intensive job on one company. They must be spending a lot of time for things they don't get paid for, because they're only paid for candidates.
They're getting paid for the hire. Where the riches are is that every time they're profiling a company that leads to a new client opportunity, whether they fill it or not, for as long as they're here, they're getting paid commissions every single time.
So how do they recommend a company for business development to you?
They're profiling the client, they're profiling the prospect at that company
the growth is that we were talking about before, if it's growing or
yeah. So let's picture Michael G. Cox. Okay, he's working at ABC company. I see Michael G. Cox, he's profiled. We want to know who if Michael has let's say he's an individual contributor, who is Michael G. Cox reporting to? Right. So then the sourcer is profiling that person and then also understanding the technology stack. Okay, so he's a data engineer. Okay, so they're working with Databricks, Spark, they're working with AWS, Python. So now and that's typically from a client search that we have. So all those candidates we're building for that particular client we're taking those same candidates that we're talking to, and then we're just introducing them to the prospective client from Michael G. Cox's manager. So then that's where we're presenting, it could be 5,000 hiring managers that our candidates are getting introduced to. That's how we're creating new business opportunity.